Hello to all Cinemaster lovers. Hope you enjoy watching. Let's get started. Prepare to embark on an unforgettable journey where magic, destiny, and the battle between light and dark come to life. In The Seeker, our film begins with a boy named Will at school with his siblings. After the school day ends, he sees a beautiful girl named Maggie. It's obvious that they both like each other, so Will follows her, hoping they will talk. But his sister comes and reminds him that they have to leave now to catch the bus. They leave, and Will gets on the bus with his siblings. He is surprised to see Maggie also boarding the bus, which makes him very happy. He looks at her, and when she gets off the bus, her scarf falls to the ground. Will picks it up and calls out to her to give it back, but she has already left, so he decides to keep it. On their way back, their neighbor Merriman, who lives next door, talks to them and invites them to a New Year's Eve party at his house. They agree to attend. The next day, while at home, two people come to deliver Christmas trees for the celebration. The father welcomes them and introduces them to his son, Will. It's noticeable that the two are a bit surprised and seem to know a lot about Will, which makes him curious and confused about why they are so interested in him. However, the situation passes naturally. The following day, Will goes out to buy something and waits for the bus. While standing, he suddenly notices that there are many crows appearing around him, making a strange, frightening sound. Will becomes very scared and doesn't understand what's happening until the bus arrives, and he quickly gets on to escape. He arrives at a big mall because he wants to buy a gift for his sister. A beautiful necklace catches his attention, and he buys it immediately, asking the shop owner to put it in a box. At that moment, Will is surprised to see the box has a drawing that moves in a strange way, making him feel that everything around him has become incomprehensible. He leaves the place and prepares to return home, but he is shocked when two police officers stop him and ask him to come with them. Naturally, Will is confused and goes with them, not understanding what he did wrong. They inform him that he stole something from the mall, which Will denies, explaining that he only has the necklace and that he paid for it. At that moment, the lights go out, and it's revealed that the two people transform into terrifying monsters. Will runs quickly, trying to escape, shocked by everything happening. Fortunately, he manages to save himself and returns home, but he's very worried and feels something is wrong. He talks to his father about the strange things happening to him, but his father doesn't pay attention and advises him to focus on his studies and not to worry about such things. Will realizes that if he talks now, his father will never believe him, so he remains silent and leaves. Time passes, and Will goes to attend Merriman's party, which they were invited to from the start. Upon entering the house, he is surprised to see the two people who delivered the Christmas tree there, greeting him strangely as if they know him. Will leaves them and sits alone. Suddenly, Maggie appears before him again, and he prepares to make a move and talk to her. However, his older brother arrives at that moment, revealing that he likes her too and goes to talk to her, spending the day with her, which upsets Will a lot. He walks alone on the street, feeling down, when suddenly a very scary knight on a horse appears, chasing him. Will runs quickly, not understanding what's happening until the knight catches up with him and demands the symbols, threatening to finish him off. Will is bewildered, not understanding what he means. The knight approaches, intending to harm him, but fortunately, Merriman arrives with the two people from the Christmas tree delivery, along with another woman. They help Will and confront the knight, telling him to leave immediately because they are stronger and will defeat him. The knight leaves, but warns them that he will return. Will is very surprised and talks to Merriman, who promises to explain everything. They travel back in time to a strange place, a huge hall. Merriman tells him that this is their headquarters and that they are the ancient ones who fought against the darkness. Here, it is revealed that the evil knight was the king of darkness, trying to obtain certain symbols to increase his power and spread darkness across the world. Merriman continues, telling Will that he is the chosen one, and his mission is to find the symbols before the knight does, to use them and completely defeat him. Will is naturally skeptical, telling them they must be mistaken because he's just an ordinary child. They respond, explaining that all the characteristics of the chosen one apply to him, especially since he is the seventh son in his family. Will denies this, saying he has only 5 siblings, making him the 6th son, not the 7th. He begins to doubt the truth of their words and leaves the place. When he returns home, he looks through old boxes and suddenly finds a picture of himself as a child with another boy who looks very much like him in the same picture. He talks to his mother, asking about this person, and it turns out that Will had a twin brother who disappeared when they were young. Will is shocked as it's the first time he hears this, realizing that Merriman's words are true and that he is indeed the 7th son, as they said. He goes to meet Merriman and his group again, telling them he believes them and has decided to help. They give him a book and ask him to read it, as it will guide him to the magical symbols. Will reads the book and discovers that the strange marks he saw indicate the presence of a symbol. He picks up his sister's gift, which had a mark moving strangely, and when he breaks it, he is surprised to find the first symbol inside. As days pass, Will is with his family when another mark appears, indicating a new symbol is nearby. Time takes them back to the past, where Will finds himself with Merriman and his group, who are there to help him. He searches for the symbol until an old woman appears, transforming into snakes to prevent them from reaching the symbol. But fortunately, Will can escape from them and locate the symbol himself. He took it quickly before they could catch him. They return to the present time, and thus they can collect two symbols. Over time, we start to notice that the Dark King has decided to take a step to prevent Will from reaching the rest of the symbols. He creates a storm in the place, and this is a direct threat to warn Will that if he doesn't give him the symbols, he will harm everyone around him. But Will doesn't care and continues with his mission. Every time a sign appears, he can locate the symbol and collect it with the others. Unfortunately, the storm continues to grow, and the weather becomes so cold that all the residents gather in one house, not understanding what's happening. One day, while they are all sleeping together, Will is with them, and suddenly he wakes up to the sound of the knight calling him. The knight demands that he give him the symbols, or he will regret it immediately. Will refuses, of course, and remains firm in his position until he is surprised that the ice in the place is falling, and the knight is controlling it. He quickly wakes them up and tells them to escape from the place. Luckily, no one gets hurt. At this moment, the knight changes his plan and turns the ice into water to drown them and get rid of them completely. At that moment, Maggie appears, runs towards Will, and tells him she came specifically to save him. She tells him that one of them knows the knight's weakness, so she asks him to give her the magical symbols he has. Will believes her and is about to give her the symbols, but suddenly he notices a new sign appearing in the place and immediately decides to search for the symbol. He breaks the place of the sign and dives into the water to search for it. Here, we are surprised that Maggie was actually a villain, one of the Dark King's followers, and she was only there to influence and control Will. Consequently, when Will manages to reach the new symbol, Maggie reveals her true self, and it ends with her drowning. As for Will, he only needs one more symbol to stand against the knight and defeat him. He travels through time and returns to the Hall of the Ancients with Merriman and his group. There, they talk, and Will tells them that the situation has become very serious. While they are talking, Will is surprised to find his family standing outside, calling for him to save them. He becomes very anxious and goes to open the door, but Merriman stops him, telling him it's a trap set by the knight and informs him that the knight can never break the door. Unfortunately, Will doesn't listen and feels that it's really his family's voice, so he opens the door and is shocked to find the knight in front of him. The knight enters and attacks them until darkness spreads, leaving him and Will alone. The knight tells him he must hand over the symbols now for his own sake, and reveals that his twin brother, who disappeared years ago, is the one who was kidnapped and is trapped in the magical crystal he has. Will begins to be affected by his words and wants to give him the symbols in exchange for his brother's return, but Merriman appears at that moment and fights the knight in hopes of defeating him. Unfortunately, the knight is stronger than him, leaving Will helpless, not knowing what to do because he needs the last symbol to overcome the knight. At that moment, he begins to understand that there are no more signs appearing around him, so he concludes that the last symbol is within him, shaped as his spirit. Will trusts himself, and indeed, his belief is correct because he gains tremendous power at that time. He can stand against the knight with courage. When the knight tries to use his power to spread darkness in the place, Will stops him and controls him with ease. Not only that, but he also turns the magic against him and manages to imprison him in the magical crystal. Here comes the surprise. His twin brother is finally freed from the knight's curse and returns to them after many years, and they all gather together. Will is very happy because he was able to overcome evil and save his kidnapped brother. They return home and his family can't believe what happened, so they all hug each other, and Merriman and his group are proud of Will's bravery. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to get more new videos. See you next time.